And I guess you're looking like a stand-up fellow. Alright,
Who's about to fall down?
I got, I suppose, shunted into this task by a Dr. Franklin Knight, who shouldn't even be a part of the fucking command structure as far as I understand, but it was sort of out of my hands. It was impressed upon me, the value of this assignment, and I really didn't have a choice.
Yeah, we've noticed that he and the general are kind of,
Which one?
They're kind of in cahoots for some reason.
Right, General. Yeah, sure, buddy. At any rate, yeah, that's why I'm here.
Smirks at that.
Dr. Franklin Knight, he holds so much power, and he was like, listen, Blackwater, I know you're just a little chump bitch who just, you know, went through the basics and everything, and all of a sudden it's like, surprise, motherfucker, it's the zombie apocalypse. But I'm gonna have you do this for me.
I'm giving myself a +20 on the next judge test. The level of ham in this room is enough to feed us for the year.
Fucking Train.
Choo-choo.
Train agrees, too much ham.
The night of the living train.
I just want to roleplay.
Nope.
And the train can't allow that.
You have to know that I'm crossing the road.
That's right, to get to the other side. Ah. But yes, now that he's starting to speak more, it really does seem like this is his type of...
It seems like he's trying to macho himself up because... Probably because of how disgracefully he came upon us.
Probably because of how disgracefully the past whatever of his life has been.
Yeah.
It's a... So, here I am.
He wants to seem like a badass now.
Yeah. So, there I was, just getting pushed onto some sort of Area 51 helicopter, flown out to here to some ass-backwards place I never heard of, some sort of closed military installation to... I don't even know what. Franklin Knight said, shut up. Don't ask questions. Just do as you're told. And, well, there were guns pointed at me, implied. So I went, okay, yeah. Alright. How bad could it be?
Trying to discern whether or not he's telling the truth about not knowing.
Sure, you can go ahead and do that.
Getting low rolls.
Alright, let me go ahead and do a roll secret here. That's a simple intelligence test, I do believe, right?
For what?
For, what does discerning lies go against?
I assume it would be smooth talking if they're lying.
Let's see.
Smooth talking, cheating.
Spotting a lie uses perception and questioning, also resisted by a simple intelligence test. Alright. Or if he's lying. Or whatever, you know, ends up being the best for him in his life. Go ahead and make a roll for him. Okay. Fletch also isn't quite sure about that. It could just be the bravado that he's injecting into his dialogue, but it's difficult to get a bead on him now that he's lucid.
It's difficult to believe quite anything he was saying when he was that drunk.
Yes. And now that he's sober, it seems that, you know, it could be him being honest. It could also just be because he's being so much of a ham in this aspect that you're...
On the radio, he definitely at least knew there was a group of people here, of militants. So he's telling somewhat of a lie, at least. Or he's lying through omission. I'll just kind of shrug and say, so what are you looking to do now?
Blackwater says, not go back. I have my life right now. I just happily fucking walk away from this place. I've heard what's down there in the basement now, and I am not interested. No, sir. Fletch.
Well, from what Knight's told us, I imagine there's a lot more of these and worse out there.
You've spoken with Knight. You see what I mean.
Yeah, I've spoken to him. I think I might have even shook the bastard's hand at one time.
Oh. Oh.
Before he revealed his nature.
Oh. Ah. Wow. You still have that hand. He, like, looks at both of your hands.
Raises his nubby wrists up. God, how did I miss that? Well, if you're looking to leave, you're more than welcome.
Blackwater looks, like, around him again, and then eyes you and Sam suspiciously.
There's a north exit and a south exit. The south one goes towards a town that doesn't look like it's been pillaged too badly.
Runs his dirty fingers through his messy hair and says, Alright. Might be good.
If you want to stay, there's some people I think more along your line of background who could probably talk to first.
I have had more than enough of the military. More than enough. Send me here to die. No, sir. Fletch.
Yeah, well, they were sent here to die, too.
He pauses and he blinks and says, so that's what Thomas meant about the others.
I think I'm getting VTM names mixed up with current campaign names now.
Okay.
You're referring to guy with the short name, not Arturo.
Clady?
Clady, yes.
Yes, Arturo. Next thing you'll know, dear LSMI will come in. Then the Stig will we'll know we've really jumped.
Then Lance will flip out, be like, "Oh God, he's gonna kill me for what I did in New York."
Lance will reveal that he's actually just been surviving the sun on Fortitude.
He hasn't been on the sun.
Yeah, that's who he means, Thomas Clady.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're referring to Clady?
Blackwater says, yeah, he was the only guy in my assembled team that I could actually talk to. Everyone else blew me off or didn't reply.
The thing that goes bump in the night got him.
His face actually falls a bit at that and says, oh.
He'll kind of somberly nod. We knew him. We met him a while back.
Huh. Did you? That's...
He'll look at Sam and say, he got drafted, we got away.
Sam's eyes widen perceptibly while Blackwater goes, it's got a coincidental thing.
When you're dealing with night, nothing's a coincidence.
Oh. I wish I knew that, huh?
You wouldn't have had a choice.
That's true.
Yeah, he was the only one who talked to me a bit.
But if you're, like I said, if you want to go, we can point you the ways out. If you feel like you might want to contribute, because we all do here, there's a guy somewhere around here that kind of organizes a lot of the labor.
Yeah, well... and he starts, like, doing this out loud, and he, like, uses his hands again. Being on my own, being above ground, above whatever the fuck is down there. On my own. Crazy monster thing. There's monster things everywhere. The devil you know over the devil you don't. Fuck.
Fletch just shrugs.
And now he holds, like, his hands, like, at, like, equal level. Like, he's measured the scale so that they're equal. Like, well, shit.
If nothing else, I wouldn't mind if you hung around for a while and maybe told us what you know about why you were actually sent here, what you saw down there, and maybe some of your teammates, especially the ones that sound batshit crazy.
I'm back.
Welcome back, Chris.
Hello.
Sure. And with that, we will cut back to Artesia. As a recap of what has transpired, Chris, not too much eventful. There's been a lot of NPC interactions, although there were some sightings of other individuals in Artesia. Potman had his ties around his wrist cut, and the three of you hid in a pantry in the house. Pretty much just squeezed together for 10 minutes. Before Tony said, fuck it, charged out. He heard the truck engine start, he ran out the back door in face-to-face with someone who's holding a Tommy gun.
Great.
Eugene and Grace are still in the pantry.
Well,
Okay.
at least Payday 2 has taught me that Tommy guns don't do any damage.
You'll be fine, don't worry.
If he aims for the head, I'll die.
Maybe.
It's vintage, you can't even mod it.
So, back to the incredibly well-dressed man who is Vader, and now that you're close to him, not only does he look, in his late 30s, and that suit does look like it's fitted him, that looks like he's holding the gun expertly. Like, he's not just some sort of, ragtag survivor who's trying to hold a gun for one of the first few times. This is someone who consciously chose to carry this Tommy gun, and he holds it up at you like he's fired this at living beings for a long period of time, and might have some marksmanship badges.
And might. Huh.
The Tommy gun, as you're getting a closer look at it, it's hard not to with it 3 feet in front of your face. It also does appear to have a custom stock designed onto it, as well as a telescopic sight. The stock, Tony has used a lot of guns in his day, really does seem designed for quick stability, as well as readiness. You would imagine so long as he had it on his person, he could easily lift that up at a moment's notice.
I see.
You got fast reflexes, you can take him.
I've got fast reflexes and nerve to steel.
Your fast reaction time wouldn't help you whenever he's pointing the gun right at you.
Well, how reckless is Tony?
Reckless enough to try to sell him a car.
Well, you go ahead and try
That's
that.
actually clever.
But
You're going to try to sell him a car that they've already started.
No, he's going to try to sell him getting to keep the car without a fight.
Yeah.
In exchange for leaving without a fight.
Already do that.
Alright, well, the gentleman who is incredibly well dressed hasn't said or done anything beyond what already been depicted, Jordan. What does Tony want to do?
So it looks like you got the advantage in this situation.
The well-dressed man says, well, there are multiples of me, and it seems only one of you.
What?
I do have the vehicle that you've used.
Mm-hmm. And while I'm loath to give that up, I'm pretty sure we can come to an agreement about that.
He chuckles and says, no, as a matter of fact, I think we can.
Yeah, okay. Listen, I think we got off on the wrong foot. My name is Anthony.
Nice to meet you, Anthony. My name is Victor.
Is there anything I can tell by his accent?
He does, especially with the suit, appear to be someone who at least considers himself to be cultured, and it's perhaps by the tilt of his head that he might be looking down his nose at you.
You seem to be a little out of the ways with your Tommy gun and well-dressed suit.
My suit is well dressed. I
Well-
imagine it is. It wears only the finest.
Ah.
What an asshole.
The suit didn't give that away.
He lets a smile go of his own. It's not a cold one, but it's more of a mocking one, and sort of like the glint of sunlight on his teeth shines basically at Tony, like how his smile shines at other people.
Shiny.
It's a sleaze off.
I've been waiting my entire life for a sleaze-off like this.
Well, you had it back in the military base.
He's been waiting many sessions for a sleaze off like this.
Yeah. So I don't know if I could persuade you to lower that gun now, could I?
And Victor replies, "Oh, I don't know. You look like the sort who is, quite adept at handling himself in the face of danger. It'd be awfully irresponsible of me if I were to just lower this."
What gave it away? The dashing good looks, the scars, or the gun in my hand?
What if I told you yes?
I like where this is going.
The truck rumbles a bit forward. Let me go ahead and actually move yonder truck. Actually move the truck to the back layer. You can actually see sitting inside of it is a younger woman, perhaps in her mid-20s, who leans out the driver's window and yells, "Good work, Vic!" And Victor says, "No thanks to you. I'm glad you finished fucking on the hood of the last car."
Whoa.
Zing.
The woman frowns and says, "Oh, look, fortune's turning up." Yeah.
Inter-party tensions, play them against one another.
I mean, yeah, you got a car, you got a truck now. That actually works. Most of the vehicles that I found don't work. I was lucky to find this one.
Victor says, "We had some car trouble, I guess you could say, and
Oh,
wow,
You bust a tire?
not quite. Doesn't seem like we have a fitting mechanic in the lot. Or rather, the mechanic was too busy fitting into her." He doesn't bother pointing, but like gestures almost with the corner of his mouth at the woman sitting in the truck. She does not appear to be put off by this, and shrugs, "Gotta get it while you can, Vicky."
If you got the right bolt and socket size, I mean...
Zing.
Well,
And then trudging around the side, you end up here saying, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." As the man in his 60s, who Tony saw washing himself by the fountain, comes into view, got a wide brim hat, and looks at you with an incredibly pleasant smile, one of those well-trained ones that shows that he's really worked people for decades.
Evangelist.
That's
Shit.
the dangerous one.
And actually extends his hands towards Tony and says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding."
And
You're using
Tony
that
bursts
word.
into flames.
he's using that word, trust. Don't use it against me. It's my one weakness.
He's sapping your strength. Your trustiness is being pulled away.
We've got a sleazy suit man, a
Okay, let me
religious
tell-
con man, and, I don't know, some kind of grifter.
Does he seems to be some sort of evangelist. Does he seem to be a Catholic evangelist?
How would you tell?
Does he
How
look
would
like a
Tony
Mormon?
tell?
He does not look like a Mormon, no.
Alright, this guy's Catholic, probably.
Wow.
Alright. You guys seem to have me. You guys seem to definitely have me at a disadvantage now.
The older gentleman actually extends his hands again and says, "Be strong and courageous, my son. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you, wherever you go."
I haven't been that. There's only been one thing recently that scared me, and it's not this situation. No offense, Vic.
Victor shrugs and says, "You tried traveling with him for months."
I've traveled with a lot. I've traveled with with worse people. Let me tell you.
And Victor says, "Oh." His brow says, "Are they with you now?"
No, they died.
Why don't you give me a deceit roll of sorts?
A deceit roll.
Yes, why don't you give me a smooth talking?
All right.
And this will end up being an opposed roll versus whatever
What do you want?
they've got in store.
Intelligence plus smooth talking.
It would be an intelligence plus smooth talking, yes.
All right.
Don't forget
Plus-
charisma.
Plus my charisma, so I got a plus 10 to this. All
Good.
right.
All right.
Yeah, they probably heard some bullshit arse before. But let me tell you, Trusty Tony's a good bullshit arse.
Grace can certainly try to stealth out of the pantry. The windows are currently sealed. They were sort of boarded shut while you folks, like, stood in here for the night. But you could certainly try to, go somewhere else. And relocate from the pantry.
If at all possible.
This is the back door that Tony's at.
Then, excuse me, is the front door not barred?
No, it's not barred.
I'm gonna try to go up the front door and around the side of the building.
Okay. Grace could, certainly try to do that. Go ahead and give me a dexterity plus stealth, please.
I managed to fail.
Go ahead and roll a 1d10.
I am the greatest.
Alright, well...
Yay, 5.
Well, Grace, gets to, and, towards the front door, and she actually opens it, and, she, amusingly enough, counters a similar situation. There is a brawny man, maybe in his early 30s. He's got a stiff lead pipe, and he's pretty much poised to bring it right down on Grace in a moment of surprise. That being said, he doesn't.
What was that noise? Tony's actually surprised.
Instead, he raises his voice and says, "I got another one, Vic."
What?
Wow, it almost didn't have to be that way.
Victor smiles and says, "And here I thought, you were quite convincing when you said you were alone."
I'm surprised myself.
Victor calls out, "Just one?" And the man in front of Grace says, "Yeah, she's got a mean-looking crossbow on her."
And I assume Potman can hear all this because the doors are open.
Yes.
Yeah, he's barely even breathing.
They're going to murder me.
Potman can do nothing to stop that.
Well,
the man in front of Grace, and I'll go ahead and reveal the rest of the terrain here since Grace can see. Just go ahead and turn off Fire War completely.
oh my god, it's in the middle of a giant field.
Don't zoom out too far, else you'll get confused. The man who's pretty much poised to strike at Grace says, "Now, you've put me in quite a conundrum here, miss. You see, if I walk away and leave you alone, you're gonna lift that crossbow and shoot me. Can't be having that.
That was a pretty good idea for that.
Why don't you..."
How about I go around some of the sides of the building and you walk behind and don't club me in the head with the pipe?
You know what? That sounds great. You know, I was going to suggest you drop the crossbow. That sounds even better. Why don't you walk out in front of me? We'll head towards the back, and don't try anything funny, all right, miss? I really don't want to hurt you.
Yeah, I don't have
But
the
I
advantage.
really will.
All right. Assuming that Grace doesn't want to attempt anything, sneaky or using subterfuge as she gets escorted around to the back.
Having someone directly behind me makes it pretty hard to be sneaky.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. In that case, she's led back to the same situation, and the old gentleman actually turns and looks, and he smiles and he says, "Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." And the man who's actually behind Grace actually mutters low enough for her to hear, "Yeah, I still don't understand what the fuck he's saying."
I think he's saying it could be worse, right?
Yeah, it could be worse.
Well, still have us at a disadvantage.
Grace has walked over to stand next to Trusty Tony.
Tony's just gonna eye her for a minute.
Tyler, the brawny gentleman, looks over at Victor. Victor looks at him and says, "There's no need. Why don't you, finish retrieving the rest of the things out of our car and zip your pants as well, Tyler?" Tyler looks down, looks back at Vic, says, "What?"
Gross.
"Look, if I hadn't heard them, they could have easily walked up behind the two of you. Perhaps be a bit quick about it."
Oh, is this the car that broke down? I'm a mechanic. I can go and take a look at it for you.
No, as a matter of fact, I think that you will have the perfect opportunity to do that on your own. Not even at gunpoint, either.
Gracious.
Yes.
But I have a question.
Go on.
Well, what are you going to do with the truck? Where are you going to go? There's nearly nowhere to go around here.
Just
I mean,
let him
DC.
go.
I mean,
what the fuck?
I mean, DC's a hellhole.
Victor says, you know, I would find your words perfectly plausible and perhaps even believable, except for the fact that you already lied to me once. And, you know, I even believed it. So, I'm just going to assume that everything you say is suspect from now on. Sound good? Mocking smile.
It's as good as I'm gonna get.
Tyler sits in the passenger seat with the woman, and the truck actually drives off. You hear the woman complaining about a fucking stick shift.
That's not gonna... That thing just got out of a wreck. You might want to watch it. It likes to drift to the left if you let it. A bear.
Nervous chatter, I like it. You should try to keep control of yourself.
Oh, I'm perfectly in control of myself. I'm just wondering what the hell she did. Everything would have been fine. The two of us could have gotten out of here. Easy peasy. You guys could have had the truck. We would have been gone. But now...
Out of a door.
I can do everything in him who gives me strength. Children, do not be upset, for you are still alive, even in all of these trials. Trust in your own capabilities, and you too shall find the light.
I have to ask, why are you traveling with a priest? No offense, father. Guy.
Victor actually, like, clenches his teeth, sort of, like, grinding them, his jaw hards, and says, "It's a long story."
I got a long story too, but it's probably not as awesome.
The preacher, on the other hand, actually looks over at Vic, and he says, "Ah, but it is truly a most blessed—" Shut up, old man. You cannot defy the will. Herbert, please. Not
Listen,
right now.
We could just leave, leave you two to argue about this. We'll go. Not bother you anymore. I mean, you already got the car.
Victor says, nah. Maybe in a bit. Victor takes a look at Grace and says, "My dear, would you mind placing down the crossbow, please? At least for now."
Okay. I'm going to actually just take the bolt out and hold on to the crossbow. If he says more, I'll put it down, but...
Victor says, "Nah, it's just as good. Crossbow, uncommon weapon. Not a poor choice of weapon, given this current condition. If, after all, if you don't know how to properly handle a gun, then it would be a waste otherwise."
It's also a hell of a lot quieter.
Victor says, "I can appreciate that as well. One thing I haven't done is add a silencer to this, although the mere thought of it disgusts me."
Like that rat-a-tat, huh?
Well, there is charm to just about any firearm.
I can understand that. I used to have a couple bolts that whistled when you shot them.
Herbert blinks and looks away from the two of you and towards the back door and says, "I sense there are other souls in there who need the guidance." Herbert, please. There's no one else. Right?
What are you looking at me for? Everything I say is suspect.
Victor looks over at Grace.
What? You caught me already.
Is there anyone else in the house, miss?
guilty silence.
Yeah. I
Victor, inhales and says, "All right, whoever's in there, please step outside right now so that Preacher Hale can speak to you about the glories of the Lord and I don't have to gun any of your friends down."
Hey,
Potman quickly shuffles out, head down, hands up, unarmed, saying, "I'm unarmed, don't kill me!"
he's the brains of the operation, if you can tell. That's a
Vic
joke.
actually takes a good look at Eugene, and Preacher Hale says, "My child, you have looked like you have been through hell."
I mean, we all have.
No, he's not talking about that, Potman.
Oh, it was the grenade?
No, he's talking about the other thing. You know, the one thing where you woke up like that? I didn't say anything.
Victor, we cannot leave these people untended. They need a shepherd to guide them. Herbert, please, they don't want the guidance. They just want to survive like us.
Well, old man, are you good with psychology or anything close to that?
I have studied intently of the human mind so that I may heal the frailties and insecurities brought on by Satan.
So that's a no.
Potman,
He clasps his hands together.
Potman, I think we may have found your doctor.
That's just insulting the doctor.
What?